Hi everyone, my name is New Ilay, Corporate Counsel at LegalPad. LegalPad is here to keep you informed on what's happening in U.S. immigration. Let's talk about key updates. Update number 1, federal agencies released immigration priorities. Federal agencies have released their regulatory agendas of upcoming priorities. Specifically, agencies under the Trump administration have plans to restrict immigration by increasing restrictions on the H-1B program and increasing prevailing wage requirements, ending employment authorization for H-4 spouses of H-1B workers, limiting the period of stay for F1 students from what is currently known as duration of status to a specified end date, and restricting permissible activities for business visitors. There are only several weeks until the change in presidential administration, and it's unlikely that the full agenda can be implemented by then. This is because the standard rulemaking process can take several months to allow for public feedback and review of comments. However, agencies under the Trump administration may try to expedite the rulemaking process and bypass opportunities for notice and comment, but this would likely result in legal challenges. LegalPad will closely monitor developments in the upcoming weeks, as there may be an increase in regulatory activities to implement the Trump administration's immigration priorities before President-elect Biden takes office. Update number 2, rule to increase restrictions to H-1B program will not take effect. USCIS confirmed that the rule to increase restrictions on the H-1B program would not take effect in December. This rule would have made it harder for companies to sponsor workers for H-1B status by tightening the definition of specialty occupation to state that a bachelor's degree requirement must be directly related to the position. Also, the rule would have increased contract and attendance requirements for H-1B workers placed at third-party sites, such as someone who is employed by Company A in H-1B status but will be working on-site as a consultant for Company B. The good news is that a federal judge ruled that USCIS cannot implement these restrictions. The court found that the government did not provide a strong enough reason to issue the rule without the required notice and comment period. This is welcome news for U.S. companies that rely on H-1B talent, especially consulting companies with employees placed at client sites. Update number 3, extension of temporary protected status for 6 countries. Temporary protected status is given to eligible nationals of certain countries who are in the U.S. but who are unable to return to their country because of ongoing armed conflict, natural disaster, or other extraordinary and temporary conditions. If you're granted TPS, you are protected from deportation and can work in the U.S. In September 2020, a federal court had ruled that the Trump administration could terminate TPS for El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua, Sudan, Nepal, and Honduras. However, the court still has not issued a directive to implement this rule. What does this mean? Well, until a directive is issued, the government must continue to extend TPS and work authorization. TPS for these countries were set to expire in January 2021. The good news is that because the court still has not issued a directive, the government will extend TPS for people from these 6 countries until October 2021. The Trump administration is expected to continue pushing for the termination of TPS. However, President-elect Biden has pledged to review the TPS program and has signaled continued support, and LegalPad will be closely monitoring for developments. I hope you found these updates helpful, and I'll see you next week.